The European Central Bank loaned many of the banks in Europe billions and billions of euros in 2011 and 2012 so that those banks could ride out the credit crunch that they were going through. Then the banks used the euros to buy the high-yielding government debt. And now that Europe's economic outlook is improving and much, much better, the banks now are repaying those loans back to the European Central Bank at a much faster rate than anyone has expected. In fact, it's 6 times faster than what even the most bullish people on Europe were expecting. So the ECB now has pledged to keep their interest rates low for quite a length of time as far as they can look out. And the ECB also says that the GDP for Europe should be about 1.2% this year, and actually higher, 1.8% for next year. So we have now very bullish retail sales numbers throughout Europe. We have consumer confidence numbers that are up, and we have the European Purchasing Managers Index, what we all here in the United States call the PMI. Well, that's rising and much higher also in Europe. So because of all of those different points I just laid out, this is a very bullish opportunity now for the euro, and the euro has risen in price quite dramatically over the last couple of days of last week. There's a great contrast between, and a striking contrast between the strategies of these countries. And while the European Central Bank is reducing its balance sheet, you've got the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Japan doing the opposite. They're pursuing a strategy of continuing to buy government and mortgage-backed securities. And this number is still in the billions for Japan and the U.S., and it's being done to spur the economies of those respective countries. So the Fed has just begun to shrink, though, its balance sheet by slowly tapering its bond purchases. But Japan is proceeding full speed ahead with almost 7 trillion yen a month. And this could be scaled back in the months ahead, but I doubt it. So in summary, the difference is that Europe is reducing its QE program while the U.S. and Japan are continuing their QE program throughout 2014 and maybe 2015. When I look at the euro versus the yen and the dollar, what you see is that the euro is the strongest currency among those 3 particular ones. And as the European Central Bank continues to downsize its balance sheet, the euro will increase versus the U.S. dollar, which is, our dollar is very weak right now and is in a downtrend. So I see an intermediate target of about 1.45 on the euro, and it's about 1.388 today. Now, with the Bank of Japan continuing to use their own version of QE, this will devalue the yen even further than it has been, and you'll see the U.S. dollar rise versus the yen. So in summary, the dollar should appreciate 5 to 7% over the near term versus the yen, but you've got the euro in summary being the strongest currency of the 3.